So there was a beta program, and these 3 dudes here put together for about 3 weeks. There were over 12,000 people in that course. And it was great. And they went through and they gave some basics of things. But the real thing that I walked away from was the energy. The energy of what they had in the group and what they brought forth and what they gave. And that energy conveyed a lot more than the words. And so when looking at creating with video, I started to think, okay, it's not so much about the words. And it's not so much about all the flashy stuff. It's about that energy. And it's aligning with small audiences. And to expand upon this is this idea of soul frequency. This is really cool. Check this out.
It's a soul frequency. It stays the same. When people talk about wanting to raise one's frequency or vibration, that's a physical thing. And that's aligning with that soul note that is so desired. That soul note is unique to you. Even those who study voice imprints, that's how they can track detectives using sound and voice. More identifying than your fingerprint, because it's your soul vibration. When we speak of that as a note, that's your soul. And it's fully to be expressed passionately.
Soul frequency is your fingerprint with your audience, and it comes through your voice, and your voice can be written, it can be spoken, however you convey to your audience, but you have to be in that state. And it's that state which brings forth much more than the perfect words. And so it's creating with that in mind. And it's like, okay, well, how would you do this? How would you go about, finding your soul frequency and conveying that soul frequency? And I think it comes from a little trick they did with a photographer. And they basically were taking a group photo. It came out so-so. And then the photographer said, close your eyes and go within and be yourself. Tap into your true nature and then open your eyes. And when they did that, the picture was so much better. It came across so much more. And it's that grounding, I think, on a consistent basis that you can create videos going forward. Now, to tap into this or to be able to do this well is that grounding. And that grounding does take time. And you have to have iterations towards that. It's what I like to call the Kyle Cease effect. And if you don't know Kyle Cease, he was basically a comedian, and he did this pivot. But in doing this pivot towards a different sort of content, he tapped into the potential of going on stage without knowing exactly what he was going to say or do.
A lot of people that haven't been here before are like, I don't know what he's going to say. I don't either. Think of how surreal that is. But wouldn't it be boring if I told you the stuff that I prepared before, if I knew everything I was going to say? Because if I got some stuff together and then came out here and told you all the things that I had prepared before the show, you wouldn't be hearing me in my vulnerability, in my heart. You'd be hearing something I prepared for you because I want to do something for you that impresses you. I don't know the right way to do this because there is no right or wrong way to do this. But if I think what's the right way to do this, I'm saying what will get me the most? What will get the most reaction? What will get the most followers? What will get the most fans? So how could I create from my heart if I immediately am starting from a place of thinking that my love is outside of me?
Now, in my eyes, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to step into being Kyle Cease in that way, but there are steps to take and iterate towards that. And part of that is just getting comfortable on camera. But I think that energy that you bring first is what's key. It comes from tapping into your Ikigai, which I cover in an older video you can check out here. The idea of the Ikigai, the confluence of different elements. And it's interesting, the westernized version of Ikigai versus the truer form of Ikigai, because it's often hard to translate the meaning that's there in the word itself. But so we've come upon our westernized version of this confluence of different things. And there are exercises you can do. Actually, you can sign up below 3 different videos that walk you through, like finding your Ikigai, turning your mess into your message, and really just tapping into a process or system that you can go through so that you get to that point of being like Kyle Cease, where you're just saying what you mean. Let me show you this example of this person I saw embody what I think has this. Check this out.
I get a little too eager and I lose my presence and I get caught up in where am I going with my words? What do I want to achieve? What do I want people to hear and what do I want them to do? Then I get a little anxious, I get a little tight, and then my words start slipping. Anyway, I don't have a script for this. I sit down and I speak whatever I feel is real. But before we start doing anything, we have to actually ensure that we are moving in the right direction. And that requires a deep connection with an inner voice, a deep inner knowing, an intuitive sense of, let's call it divine guidance if you want.
You'll see when he gets stuck, he really goes back and says, okay, sometimes I stumble upon my words because I'm getting ahead of myself. And I think it's trust in spirit, trust in yourself, trust in the process. And it's co-creating with an audience. I think one of the other biggest things that I realized, we can't do this alone, and we co-create with the universe, we co-create with the people around us. And so it's tapping into that audience and co-creating with them so that you help them. Whatever gifts you might have, whether you're into Reiki healing or whether you're into more traditional methods of healing, either way, whatever gifts you have, maybe you have organizational gifts. I'm not very good at organizing things. I'd love to tap into that. So there's different elements that people tap into, and it's knowing what those are and going, okay, that's what I've got right now. And I'm going to co-create with my audience forward. I'm going to bring forward what I have already. What's helped me through my process, my mess that becomes my message, that becomes my initial offer, and being okay with offering something, with getting over the weirdness that people have with money and selling, when selling can be a service instead of the traditional way of selling. And so it's taking all of that and putting it forth in a way that makes sense to you right now. And then your audience co-creates with you. It's your next level. You're going to find your next level by putting out your content to your audience. And they're going to give you feedback. You're going to understand more from them. And then you're going to step up a bit to your audience. And it's a process of co-creation with your audience and with the universe, because we tap into so much more. There's all kinds of evidence to that. Either way, it's that small audience, because I think on YouTube and other platforms, especially TikTok and others that are gravitating towards that, is this sense of flashy, like all this content all at once, and really just trying to create a bunch of Hollywood-like material that goes towards that method rather than tapping into what is your true self and going from that. The end result then is a system where you can tap into who you are right now, your true message, put it out to your audience, and keep iterating forward in a co-creative way. And when you do this, I believe that small audience will be the thing that carries you forward. You don't have to go viral. You don't have to have Hollywood-like production. You just need to be consistent, true to yourself, true to your audience, and iterate forward. And so I think that's where the soul frequency comes into play. And I, for one, am all for being boringly consistent, yet exciting in the details, exciting in tapping into true, authentic nature. So if you want to join me, I'm going to be going into covering some audiences that actually are small, but do quite well. We can do this. And by doing this, we actually help, 20 or more people around us. And in that sense, we become our future through this process. And it doesn't have to be about going viral. It just means connecting in a real fashion. I love that. I think it's the way forward, really. So if you want to join me, there's a way to sign up below to get into a group. After a long road, I'm building my line in the sand, and I'm co-creating forward with you, the universe, and and we're going to make it happen. Join me. See the links below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.